stop, listen, and ask yourself, have you ever pondered at the idea that there may be something to the other side? If so, and you're hearing my voice for the first time, then you may have just fallen into the void.
This is Ashley from Adventures with Ashley on YouTube, and I'm falling with G-Man into the void.
Well, hey there, hello there, and welcome to a very special episode of Into the Void, where we talk about anything and everything paranormal. I am your self-quarantined ghost host with the most G-Man, bringing you the latest in unexplained stories, ghostly encounters, paranormal information, and insight. No, I'm not sick, just doing my part to bend the curve by #SaferAtHome. You too can do your part by washing your hands, coughing into your elbow, and remember, 6 feet or social distancing can make a difference. Speaking of different, 2 things happening here. One, I'm doing the show from my own home, and I gotta say it's a little strange, but also very exciting. And 2, this episode is sponsored by Cursed Creatures, your one-stop online shop for amazing monster apparel and accessories, from patches, stickers, and keychains to compact mirrors and even air fresheners. Tired of that same old t-shirt? Cursed Creatures has what you need to add some spookiness to your fashion. Head over to cursedcreatures.bigcartel.com and find what cursed item fits your spooky needs. That's cursedcreatures.bigcartel.com. Before we get into the deep end, as always, a big thank you to all who have been tuning in and listening, and a very special thank you to my last guest, YouTuber and vlogger Ashley from Adventures with Ashley. If you haven't already, after this episode, I encourage you to go back and have a listen to episode 3, where Ashley will recall her adventure to Mount Baldy and discoveries into the plane crash of 1949. Give some insight on what it was like when one of her adventures led her to 2, that's TWO, very creepy locations. And hear tell of 2 very strange tales. And listeners, let me tell you, one of them will leave you with chills. So, this is usually the part of the show where I introduce my guest co-host Renee. However, considering the ill state of affairs our world is facing, we found it's best to keep our distance until this pandemic is over. But I can assure you, he and the rest of the Into the Void crew are doing just fine, and wish all of you a safe and healthy self-quarantine. Now, I'm excited because the tickets for Midsummer Scream in Long Beach, California have gone on sale. Now, I touched on this a bit in our last episode, but for this episode, I wanted to really dive more in depth on the subject. That's right, we are once again getting closer to that time of year where the monsters, ghouls, and creatures from our darkest nightmares come to life under one roof. And if that wasn't spooky enough, they have extended the event to 3 days. Midsummer Scream, the world's largest Halloween and horror convention, returns to Southern California for 3 days of terrifying thrills and horrific chills. As the fan-favorite convention celebrates its 5th anniversary at the Long Beach Convention Center, expanding from July 31st to August 2nd. With an estimated 40,000 attendees flocking to Southern California to participate in this year's event, Midsummer Scream is proud to announce industry leaders such as Universal Studios Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights, Knott's Scary Farm, LA Haunted Hayride, Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, and Six Flags Magic Mountain's Fright Fest will be in attendance to showcase world-class presentations, surprises, and major announcements. For more on Midsummer Scream and where to get your tickets, visit midsummerscream.org. That's midsummerscream.org. Also, let me put your mind at ease. I was able to communicate with the creative director of Midsummer Scream, Rick West, who made it clear that Midsummer Scream will continue as planned. In his words, I quote, "We're all in this together. As a result, I think the sense of community that is unique to the Midsummer Scream experience will be tenfold this summer. It's truly going to be an amazing weekend." So there you have it. For more information on Midsummer Scream and where to get your tickets, visit midsummerscream.org, and don't forget to enter the promo code MSS2020. That's MSS2020, which will allow you 40% off general admission single day and weekend passes. Now, continuing to the topic of this episode, fear. Please don't misunderstand. This is a very confusing time in America and around the world, so I have no intention of talking about the kind of fear associated with the current events. The fear I mean to discuss is the type of fear that keeps us entertained. I'm talking about fun fear. And how far is too far? We live to be scared. The science of fear explains why being frightened can be fun, at least to most people. Now, Margie Kerr, who has a PhD and a sociologist and author of Scream Chilling Adventures in the Science of Fear, states, and I quote, "When we are afraid, our bodies release different chemicals that can contribute to feeling good under the right circumstances," end quote. So when you're walking down that long, dark scare maze with low visibility and something lurking around every corner, your body will begin to trigger something in your sympathetic nervous system called neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are a chemical transmitter within our bodies which allows our cells to communicate with one another, providing us with the ability to react and feel different sensations. In this instance, this type of fear will draw the pounding of your heart, heavy breath, a cold sweat, and a feeling of an empty stomach. They don't sound like nice experiences, but we endure them because it excites us. It's the resolution of our fear that will give us comfort and joy. So putting ourselves in the path of fear will often bring us relief. But when are the spooks too much? I'd ask myself, and I ask you too, listener, a question that has been asked several times over various radio stations and podcasts. So I guess you could say it's my turn to visit this question. How far is too far when it comes to fun fear? Like many of you listeners, I am a big fan of the haunted attractions that take place every year around Halloween time. Although I have had my fair share or two of attractions where even I have felt that maybe this was just a little too much. Granted, yes, I chose to put myself in that environment, so I never realized a need to complain or start a petition to have any attraction removed. The same, however, cannot be said for Knott's Berry Farm. In 2011, a man by the name of Scott Griffin attends a Halloween-themed event at a haunted hotel event, which included an attraction called the Haunted Trail. While exiting the trail, Griffin was scared by a chainsaw-wielding character, and he fled in a hurry. While running away, he tripped, fell, and injured his wrist. Because of this, he filed a lawsuit against Knott's Berry Farm for their haunted attraction. He stated that the attraction should not be scaring people beyond the marked exit. What Mr. Griffin failed to realize was there were signs that stated no running throughout the attraction. Easier said than done, I understand that. But you would think someone would stop to think, there's a chance I might be running out of here, and prepare themselves for surprises. After his case was lost, he continued to pursue an appeal and lost again. So it wasn't until 2014 when Knott's Scary Farm took another hit, this time not from one person, but the people. Between 2014 to 2016, Knott's had been running a haunted attraction called Fear VR 5150. It was a virtual reality attraction in which you place VR goggles over your eyes while being pushed around on a wheelchair. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, yeah, but G-Man, I don't see what the problem is. The problem, listener, was the name and the theme. For those who are unaware, 5150 is the California Police Code indicating a person with a mental illness who may harm themselves or others. John Lyrell, the president of the Orange County chapter of National Alliance on Mental Illness, stated in a letter he wrote to Cedar Fair Entertainment, And I quote, "The theme adds to the hurtful, dehumanizing, discriminatory, insensitive, offensive, and stigmatizing of mental illness." This letter prompted Knott's Berry Farm to change the name of the attraction from Fear VR 5150 to just Fear VR. Cedar Fair Entertainment, parent company of Knott's Berry Farm, stated in response, "It is never our intent to be disrespectful to any individual or group. The virtual reality experience is actually built around paranormal, zombie-like activity in a medical hospital setting. Part of the confusion stems from the use of the code 5150 in the experience's original name. For that reason, the name has been changed to Fear VR." End quote. However, mental health advocates stated that this was not enough and petitioned to have the attraction shut down. As argued by mental health advocate Krista Hickey, "We don't use any other illness as entertainment. Why is it okay to use mental illness?" In the end, the attraction was ultimately closed to demonstrate sensitivity to those who suffer from mental disease or disorder. Cedar Entertainment released a statement upon closure of this attraction, and I quote, "California's Great America is proud of its popular annual Halloween Haunt event. For 9 years, we have delivered unique and immersive haunted experiences to our fans and loyal guests. Our evening attractions are designed to be edgy and are aimed at an adult-only audience. Over the past week, we have heard from a number of people expressing their concern that one of our temporary Halloween attractions, Fear VR, is hurtful to those who suffer from mental illness. Contrary to some traditional and social media accounts, the attraction story and presentation were never intended to portray mental illness. As it is impossible to address both concerns and misconceptions in the Halloween timeframe, at this time we have decided to close the attraction." End quote. Before close of the season, a counterposition was submitted in hopes of having the attraction reinstated. However, it failed. Another instance of how far is too far takes us to Creepy World, located in Fenton, Missouri. It is here I learned about a woman by the name of Jessica Rue. Now, she was 18 years old at the time when she almost died while trying to scare some onlookers during a Halloween attraction. The story goes, 18-year-old Jessica was perched up on a bathtub waiting for her next scare victims. When the moment arrived, not only did she terrify an incoming group, but managed to jump right onto a noose that was part of her section. The people she scared and those who followed went by thinking it was all part of the entertainment. It wasn't till about 10 minutes later that a coworker came over and saw Jessica in the rope and unconscious. As a result of this workplace accident, Jessica was in a coma for 3 days and awoke with several problems: short-term memory loss, headaches, blackouts, and heart palpitations. OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, investigated only to discover there were multiple safety violations. Halloween Productions Incorporated, parent company of Creepy World, was fined over $10,000. Also in 2012, Rue placed a lawsuit against Halloween Productions Incorporated for dangerous working conditions. Now, you would think they would have used a breakaway noose and not bolted into the ceiling. I mean, safety first, right? Well, hopefully this hasn't deterred you from attending these haunted events. Speaking for myself, I can't wait to see what horror attractions have in store for me this year. How about you, listener? I know that I plan on going the first chance I get, and when I do, I will be supporting my Cursed Creatures apparel. That's right, you'll be finding me wearing my Three Sisters tee with my Cursed Black keychain hanging from my pocket. You can get yours too by visiting cursedcreatures.bigcartel.com to make your creepy purchase. Upon further research into the topic of fear, I came across 5 reasons why we love to be scared. These reasons really help me understand why we enjoy being scared. Firstly, when we seek to be scared by watching horror films or playing scary video games or visiting haunted attractions, we take charge of our fear. Now, this is known as controlled fear. It allows you to control the type of fear you are seeking. Basically, you choose how much fear you're willing to endure. This will allow us to feel in control of what will make us afraid, thus taking fear into your own hands and providing us with a sense of safety or a kind of safety net. This safety net will allow us a controlled environment for the flood. Thanks to the neurotransmitters mentioned earlier, our bodies will be flooded with a rush of adrenaline and a release of endorphins and dopamine, leaving a sense of relief and well-being once the experience of fear has subsided. Furthermore, there is fear in seeking a thrill or an adrenaline rush with such physical activities such as skydiving, surfing, snowboarding, or skiing, or even bungee jumping. By pushing the envelope, one is left with a sense of self-satisfaction or achievement. You've challenged and defeated fear once more. Another reason why we love being scared is to draw closer to others. A very common scenario for many couples, date night with a horror movie. This will often lead to a mistaken arousal through science. A study shows that the shared experience of fear can result in a pleasurable outcome. However, this biochemical flood can yield a positive outcome in one person while a negative outcome in another. So while your partner is grasping your arm in terror, always remember to be respectful. When your companion says no, it still means no. Finally, the strongest reason why we love being scared is so simple. It's what draws us all to try new things. Curiosity. No matter how we try to deny it, our minds will draw us closer to the edge. We want to know why we see others enter a haunted attraction and scream bloody murder, but exit with such exulting laughter. Curiosity is what drives us to push forward and strive for that sense of relieving satisfaction. So there you have it, listener. The 5 reasons why we love being scared. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of these reasons. Maybe you have another reason of your own. I would love to read what you have to say. So the question here is, why do you enjoy or not enjoy being scared? Now, it's pretty clear that people will go to great lengths to scare and be scared. As the years go on, we start to see a change in how the scare zones and attractions are created. Yes, there are still those dark, creepy areas that make your heart race and maybe wet yourself a little. I know I have. But even more, reasonable regulations have been applied to better ensure safety, and it seems to me that people are still satisfied with the screams and terrors. Always remember to take proper precautions when seeking any terrifying thrills. Be safe while seeking the spooks. And when you do, be sure to show off your wicked side with your apparel and accessories from Cursed Creatures. You can purchase your spooky tees, patches, and more from cursedcreatures.bigcartel.com. That's cursedcreatures.bigcartel.com. Well, that's going to do it for this special self-quarantined episode. If you like what you heard here, be sure to follow us on all our social media sites. Facebook at Pod Paranormal 87, Instagram at Void Podcast 18, Twitter at Nightwing Silver. Check out our website, intothevoidpod.com. That's intothevoidpod.com. And if you'd like to be a Patreon member, go on and check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/intothevoid. Once again, a big thank you to our sponsor for this episode, Cursed Creatures. Be sure to check them out. And with that, I'm G-Man, and I want to thank you for falling with me into the void.